fish report. Hanging at the fish report. Hanging at the fish report. Hanging at the fish report. For your latest news and high school sports, tune in to the fish report. Don't need no bed, don't need no pull. When you tune in to the fish report. Hanging at the fish report. Hanging at the fish report. You got Craig and TK and Head that D tuned in at the fish report.
Coming to you live from Studio F in Russia, Ohio. It's the Fish Report Live Show with your hosts, Craig Fissinger and Ken Francis.
Happy Thursday, everyone, and welcome to another Fish Report Live. Thanks for joining us. I'm Craig Fissinger. That is Ken Francis. We're your host. Back in our sound room, two guys we like to call TK and Heavy D. We'll be joining them a little bit later in the program. And out in Studio R, of course, it's Brandon Coverman. We'll talk to him here in just a minute. And Ken, for the first time in, I think, 4 weeks of Season 9, we've got the whole crew together finally.
Yes, we do. You know, first I had to take a couple weeks off, and then Heavy D was out for a week, Craig. But it's great having the whole crew together, and, you know, we're just really looking forward to a great fall of sports. And, you know, we had some great shows so far, but it's always special when we got the whole crew together with us, and including Covio with us out there in the studios. So it's going to be a lot of fun tonight.
We're going to make the rounds, that's for sure. And we're going to talk a lot of sports tonight. We're going to try to hit everything, including a big interview the second half of the show, aren't we?
Yes, we are, Craig. A big interview with John Rodgers, head coach of the Fort Loramie Redskin volleyball program. Craig, he's got a state championship under his belt. He's got his team currently ranked number 4 in the state of Ohio, and just a really, really talented squad he's got over there in Fort Loramie. We've seen him play against the Russia Raiders once, and they got a lot of talent, and I think they got a good coach to bring them a long way in the postseason, and interesting to be talking to him tonight.
And we're going to talk about his team. We're going to talk about one of his assistant coaches, and we're going to talk about a sport that I found out that he likes in addition to volleyball, which I think some of our viewers will be surprised with, so stay tuned for that. But let's get things started. Ken, talking some football for that. We're going to go out to Studio R, checking with Covey out there. And Covey, you know, last week, I know one of your viewers or one of your fans was actually amazed that you were able to get from the studio here after the show in like 5 minutes and get over to Claire C. Nouveau Gymnasium to call a volleyball game.
Well, it helps right when Fishport Live Studio is only like 2 minutes away from school, so it's just a skip, hop, and a jump away.
Well, let's talk some football, and I know we're talking MAC games. We've been doing them all season so far. We're in Week 5 now. Get things started talking about those Marion local Flyers going to the Anna Rockets. Kobe, we got Flyers, we got Rockets. Sounds like an air show to me.
Yeah, it's going to be a high-flying air show. A lot of offense, a lot of the spread offense that you usually see from both teams. I'll be calling this game, so I'm really looking forward to it. The big key for the Marion local Flyers is how good do they execute in space? How well do they tackle Riley Huelskamp and Bart Bixler in space? Do they let them not have chunk plays of 10, 15 yards? Do they hold them to them 5 3-yard carries that force them to punt? And that would be the big difference. But I like the Rockets here, especially at home. Marion had struggled. They only put up about 60 total yards in the second half against Delphus St. John's, a team kind of in the bottom half of the MAC. They struggled in the second half. But I think you have to look at Marion. They're going to keep progressing throughout the season and going to be a favorite in Division 7. It's just not their night on Friday night. I'm going to go with the Rockets by about 10 points.
Covey, good call there. Let's talk, stay in the MAC, and let's talk about Fort Recovery at Coldwater. You know, the Indians are coming in averaging 24 points a game, Covey, yet they're having trouble winning, and they're taking on a powerful Coldwater Cavalier team. What do you got for us over there in Coldwater Friday night?
Yeah, the problem with the Fort Recovery Indians right now is the defense. A New Bremen team that was shut out by Anna comes up and hangs 34 on them. New Bremen was struggling offensively a lot. Just that rush defense for Fort Recovery really struggled. New Bremen threw a lot of different jet sweep concepts at them and just counters and powers and anything. Fort Recovery had a hard time stopping it. But Coldwater's attack is going to be a little bit different, going to be through the air. Jake Helmelgarn last week in Coldwater's big 18-point victory over Minster, threw for 250 yards, passed quite often, and had, I believe, around a 68% completion percentage. I believe the Coldwater Cavaliers roll comfortably. It won't be a contest.
Covey, next game, Minster at Parkway. The Panthers were up 27-14 on Versailles in the third quarter last Friday and let it slip away.
Yeah, it's depending how Parkway wants to respond. They come in 2-1 with a chance to go 3-1 and bid for a potential playoff run. It's definitely how they respond this week. But I'm not gonna pick the Panthers this week. I'm gonna go with the Wildcats here. They advance. They win again. They go to 4-1, and they bounce back from that loss at Coldwater. I believe you're gonna have to watch the Jacob Schmidtmeyer and Jacob Niemeyer take over in the backfield there for Coach Garen Stokes' squad, and they'll roll to 4-1.
Kobe, let's stay in the MAC and talk about New Bremen at St. Henry. You know, St. Henry's down this year. New Bremen's coming in at 3-1. Could the Cardinals do something that a couple years ago nobody thought they would ever do, and that's win a game at St. Henry and move to 4-1 on the season?
Yeah, I believe they will. St. Henry's still reeling a bit from a little bit of youth, so to speak. It's just a cycle that so far that St. Henry's gone through. They have some injuries with some upperclassmen that's really kind of been hurting them. But New Bremen, I believe, moves to 4-1, and they have a favorable schedule looking up ahead. I do believe they play Minster. I do believe they play Coldwater, but they avoid Marion Local, which is a good, solid team. And they have a very favorable schedule. They can sit about 7-3, 6-4. They finished 6-4 last year, did not get that playoff berth. But I believe it's a real possibility that they could be 7-3, sitting in with a high seed in that Division 7 playoff and getting an early good round matchup. New Bremen has not been in the playoffs since the 2004 season. I wasn't even in school yet, so it's been quite a while for New Bremen since they've had that playoff berth. But if they win against St. Henry, it's a real possibility. They've got some tough games. They've got Versailles, Coldwater, Minster as well, Week 10. So it's very possible New Bremen could be sitting 7-3 at the end of the year. I mean, it's no joke.
And our last MAC game, Kobe, and that is Versailles at Delta St. John's. I'll go back to my earlier comments about that Versailles Parkway game. Versailles found a way to win. Can they build off that this week?
Yeah, you can tell that's a huge win for Coach Ryan Jones early in his tenure. We talked about last week how Versailles is going more of that pass-happy offense, and traditionally they've been in that more of that run 3 yards in a cloud of dust type offense. And Coach Jones has really completely changed it over there. And I've talked to some Versailles fans, and they're really liking what they're seeing from Coach Jones. There's no quit in this team. They've got some youngsters in the skill position that have really helped them that they're looking forward to in the future. And I think Versailles goes to 3-2 over the win over Delphus St. John's. I think they win by at least 2 touchdowns. Delphus ain't quite up to the level this year that they've been in years past. And also one game I know you don't have on the monitor that I was watching will be a good CCC matchup. Will be Miami East versus Arcanum. Arcanum's sitting at 4-0 that people don't know about. Miami East sitting at 3-1. And Arcanum has not been to the playoffs since 2005. Coach Jason Schonelmeyer doing a pretty good job over there. Even though week 1 for Arcanum was forfeited, they've won their other 3 games to go to 4-0. I believe the Trojans advanced to 5-0 and have a legit shot. And they're not in the same region that the MAC teams are in Division 6, but have a legit shot of making the playoffs if you look at their schedule.
That's great coverage there, Kobe. And it's interesting as you look at these games and you kind of start to look at computer points. Versailles obviously going to be a big fan of Parkway this weekend. Hopefully the Tigers or the Panthers can get a win over the Wildcats if you're a Versailles Tiger fan. And you're starting to watch these computer points start to unfold a little bit. And there's big wins out there for these teams to get, isn't there?
Yeah, and that's the big thing. It's who you beat, really, and you got to rely on them getting points. And that's what we talked about sometimes with what you talked about in years past, when maybe some of the weaker conferences getting more teams in it, and it's just who you beat. You get wins, you get points. It's just how the style works here in Ohio. So if you can beat a team that's 9-1 and not very talented, you're fortunate to have that. But if you beat a talented team that's maybe 5-5, it's not going to benefit you that much. So that's why you see a lot of these Division 7 schools like Marion went over and played Bishop Watterson. And, I mean, if they would have got that win there, that would have been a lot of points for them. I mean, they would be beating Division 3 teams, maybe going 5-5. If so, that would have been fantastic for the Flyers. But it's who you beat, and that's how you get the points.
Great stuff as always, Kobe. Thanks for all that. Look forward to talking to you next week about some games in week number 6.
See you next week.
Yeah, Ken, speaking of those Arcanum Trojans, Kobe mentioned those. I don't know if you happen to see, but they were wearing some special uniforms last week from the Ohio National Guard. Did you see that?
I did see that. A lot of military uniform there. It was really neat to see him run out there on the field with the camouflage military gear on, and very special and something really neat for the Arcanum Trojans.
Got a chance to talk to 3 of their players. I was actually at Edison Community College last Friday for a career fair expo thing, and 3 of their players came up wearing those camouflage uniforms, and I said, what are those all about? And they said the Ohio National Guard hands those out one each week to different schools around Ohio. They were one of 10 teams in Ohio that gets to wear those all season long, so I know they were really proud of that, and I was happy to see them pull out a big victory last week.
Absolutely.
All right, let's change gears, Ken, and we're going to try to cover everything tonight. Let's talk a little boys golf. On Tuesday, the Division III sectionals, Southwest sectionals over there at Stillwater took place. Let's take a look at see what happened. Who advanced the districts?
Yeah, Craig, it was a very good day for the Shelby County League. And when you talk about the advancing teams, the top 4 teams were Anna and Fort Loramie, who actually tied for first place there. Anna won it based on the 5th golfer there. Bokkens got 3rd. Fairlawn got 4th. Craig, and then some couple Shelby County individuals. Rushie's own Drew Sherman and Rushie's own and Fish Report's own Ross Fissinger. Very proud of them 2 boys, both advancing to the district championship next week in Cincinnati. So it's going to be a lot of fun to watch those golfers. Shelby County League very well represented.
It's going to be tough competition down there at Glenview in Cincinnati. Only the top 2 teams and top 2 individuals move on. We know what that's all about. We've talked about golf on here for a lot of years, and it gets very tough when you get to that level, that's for sure.
Yeah, some very good private schools down there in the Cincinnati district that they know how to play golf down there, and they get some of the best golfers in the state of Ohio. So makes it pretty tough. But, Anna and Fort Loramie, Craig, honestly, 2 very good golf teams, so don't count them short.
Yeah, very good. And the girls took place on Wednesday, yesterday, over at Stillwater. They played the Division II, just 2 divisions in girls golf. I want to say congratulations to our neighbors over there at Versailles. They qualified in that 4th team spot, shot a 405 as a team, and then individually, sophomore from Fort Loramie, Eva Bolin, is going back again for her 2nd year. She shot a 91. She was the top individual moving on to districts. They play at Pipestone in Miamisburg. That will be next Wednesday, October 2nd. The boys play on Tuesday, October 1st. And we'll change gears one more time before the break, talk a little cross country. Of course, the big meet happening this weekend is over there at Bokkens at the Best of the West Invitational, the 20th anniversary of that, Ken. I talked to their media guy over there, and he told me that the high school boys race is going to be highlighted by some state-ranked teams, number 5 Columbus Grove, number 11 Anna, and of course his number 13 Bokkens Trojans. On the girls' side, you got number 7 Columbus Grove, number 19 Versailles. State-ranked Fort Loramie, their boys and girls team are actually going to be sending their B teams, and that's because their A teams will be running up at Cuyahoga up in the northeast corner of Ohio. They've been doing that for years. And then Rushie will be sending their B teams as well, from what I've been told, because they're resting their A teams this week. They typically take a week off during the season. This is it, but they still wanted to support Bokkens in their race over there.
That's a good thing. Bokkens does a great job, Craig. Been there many times. It's a fun course to watch the runners, and I've seen some great performances there from all the local schools, and some very memorable meets when I look back on it as a dad and watching some of those races over there. Some great racing. So good luck to all those teams. And it's interesting in Fort Loramie, they always take their team on a road trip, Craig, and I think it's a great thing, because they kind of plan for that postseason run, which the Redskins obviously are very good at, and they kind of get used to staying in that hotel, get used to that atmosphere, kind of away from home. I think it's a great thing that they do, and wish them the best of luck in their journey up to Cuyahoga.
Yeah, and of course, speaking of Bokkens, the league meet this year will be at Bokkens in 2 weeks, so a good opportunity for those local schools to get on that league course and get an opportunity to run that right before their big competition in a couple weeks. Well, let's take a short break, but stay right there. When we come back, we're going to talk some more fall sports, including a big volleyball interview with Fort Loramie coach John Rodgers.
The boys will be playing open stage at the Leaping Vine. music starts at 8 o'clock. You can find us here every Wednesday night. It's usually the same cats every week, but I can't tell you all their names. A teacher, a cat, and a junkie, all waiting for time to play. Everybody here's got something that we're trying to leave behind. We're all a little broken, looking for a place to hide. Get no answers, don't ask any questions. We're all here just looking for a high. And we're all beautifully broken here tonight.
And welcome back to the second half of Fish Report Live. Before the break, we were talking some football, Ken. We're talking a little golf, some cross country. Going to talk some volleyball now. And our next guest has been the longtime head coach of the Fort Loramie volleyball program. Back in 2014, his Lady Redskins, if you remember, won a state title. His team this year is currently leading the SCAL as the number 5 ranked Division IV team in Ohio. We welcome to the show now John Rodgers. Coach, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it.
Well, Coach, when I look at your roster, it looks like basically the same personnel you had last year, and you ended league play last year at 500. You were 6-6. This year, you're off to a 9-0 start after your win on Tuesday over Houston. So, what's changed from last year to this year?
Well, I think there's a combination of things. I don't think it's ever one thing. First, I think we're healthy. That's probably one of the biggest things. Last year, I'm guessing maybe 2 regular season matches when we were at full strength. We got into full strength when we got into the tournament there. But before that, I'm thinking 2 regular seasons. That hurt us a lot. we were down 3 and 4 at some positions at one point. Second, I think that we've had some players that have gone out and got some high-level training in the off season, which when you throw them into the mix, that certainly improves everybody on the floor. And then, we've got a great group of kids this year across the board, and I think the competition in our gym has taken everybody's level up. It's fun going in there every day and watching them just really go at each other and have a good time competing.
Well, Coach, speaking of last year, I know all that's history, and we don't need to talk about it. But last year New Bremen beat you in the regional finals for that opportunity to go to state. But you get another shot at them this year, this past Saturday, and you come out on the short end there. So can I ask maybe what you might have told your players after last Saturday's game against the Cardinals?
Yeah, I told them to stay the course. I think we're on the right track. I really feel it. I really believe it. We're on the right track this year. We're doing a lot of really good things. And I told them, it's not, you're just not going to up in one day beat a great program like New Bremen. And I say program because, players come and go, but they've been consistent for some time now since Diana got there. And you just don't do it overnight. It takes time. But I do feel we made progress against them. I knew we were going to battle. I knew we were going to get in there and work hard. And we had some specific things that we were working on, and we definitely improved on them. And I showed the team on film, where we made progress. Look at this. Look at this. We made progress here, progress here. But then we made mistakes on things that we've been doing well all through the season. So, it's a step in the right direction, and I'm looking forward if we get the opportunity to play them again down the road.
Coach, good evening to you. This is Ken Francis, and appreciate you being on the show
Hi,
with
Ken.
us tonight. Every team is led by a good group of seniors, and you've got 4 good ones. Let's talk a little bit about Marissa Myring, Taylor Ratterman, Macy M. Wally, and Alyssa Rossman. What do you look for in this group, and how important are they for you to make a great postseason run?
Well, it's simple to say leadership, but I think anybody that's coached more than 10 minutes knows that leadership is not simple. at all. But they've had quite a bit of experience at it through, the basketball team last year being the juniors with no seniors. So they've had experience developing leadership, and they've been on the floor for me in the past. Some of them due to injuries, some of them because they were the starters last year, and they've kind of learned to help the young players get through, some of the tough times that you're going to face in the season, some of the adversity. Every player that's been on the floor this season for just about any team, they're beat up, they're sore, they're tired. But the leaders learn how to push their teammates through that to be better every time they touch the ball. They help them, stay focused on the big prize at the end of the season. They know that this soreness and this tiredness they're feeling right now is going to pass. And when it does pass, what memories are they going to have of the season? And, our girls want championship memories of the season. And they spend a lot of time talking with the younger players about, hey, you got to push through this because the memories we're making now are going to be for a lifetime.
Coach, speaking of younger players, I know you've got quite a few good ones on your team as well. As we continue to talk a little bit about your roster, talk a little bit about some of the underclassmen. I know you've got a contingent of very good athletes over there in Fort Loramie, and I know you share them a lot with Coach Siegel, and I know she appreciates those great athletes as well. So tell us a little bit about them girls.
Yeah, Coach Siegel and I have a good relationship there. We understand that, what makes one successful is certainly making the other one successful. And one of those players is Kenzie Holscher. She missed most of last year with an injury. She had a fracture in her back. And she's making up for lost time this year, I can tell you that. She's just been a force everywhere we've gone. She's done everything we've asked of her. And then some, and she's certainly one of the players that when we play somebody, they talk about her afterwards. Another one, Ava Schultes, she's just a sophomore, great athlete, just scratching the surface of where she's going to be. And, we're working a lot with her on just being, strategic with what she does with the ball, and she's got all the athleticism in the world, but, the caliber of teams we're playing, they're going to be able to figure out. So we've been working with her a lot. Jada Dries, another sophomore who was in the middle last year and then has moved to the right side this year. She's still learning the position, but again, just getting better with it every day, learning something new every day in practice. And like I said before, these are the girls, the ones that you see and you hear about, but there's numerous other ones that come off the bench that we have full faith in and give the starters a break and sometimes even light a spark under the team. Things are a little flat. You take out one of those starters, let them catch their breath for a second. You put someone else in, and they go in and they do something tremendous, and they just get your motor back running. And so, like I said, our gym is full of great kids like that. And but those are the ones you see and hear about.
Coach, you're in your 12th season as head coach of the Fort Loramie volleyball program, and behind every good coach, there's a lot of good assistant coaches. And, you've got one of the best, and I have to say he's one of my favorites. He reminds me of a professional wrestler, a rather famous professional wrestler. I've seen Coach Schmidt in one of my finer establishments in Belle Fountain already that I really enjoy going to.
Yeah.
So,
he's a regular.
Talk a little bit about Coach Randy Schmidt, the value that he brings to your program, and he sure does seem like a whole bunch of fun.
Yeah, the parents, one of his first years here, went out and made Hulk Hogan shirts. And they asked me, they're like, how do you think he's going to react? And I said, well, let's just say you better get his wife one. And that kind of tells you his attitude right there. He was at home from the minute he set foot in Fort Loramie. But here's how we met. He works works in the summer for a volleyball club called Match Point, and they go around schools and they do camps. Pretty much all over the United States. I mean, he goes up and down the East Coast, wherever he wants to go. They're led by some of the top-notch guys. Some of these guys are involved in USA Volleyball, some of the big clubs out west, and so I mean, this is a top-notch program. And I had him do a camp for me years ago, and he was one of the lead coaches. And we just got to talking. Of course, volleyball, small world, you hit it off, And about a year later, I needed an assistant coach, and I knew that he lived in Belle Fountain, and I gave him a call. And he was excited to jump on board. He really was, and he couldn't wait to get here to be part of it. He knew the type of kids we had, and he really wanted to coach those type of kids. The girls love him. You know, he's tough on them, but he has a lot of fun with them. You know, we have a big pool party at his house every summer, and the girls just love it. You know, they bring all the parents out, and we have a really fun day out there. Value to me, he's got the ability to coach any aspect of the game, and that's something that's valuable to a head coach. You know, we got to focus on this, you got to focus on that, go, and we go our separate ways in the gym, and we get it done. He routinely turns down head coaching jobs. You know, every year there's a couple schools that'll call him and say, hey, you know, are you interested? And he's like, nope, I have no interest in being a head coach. I like where I'm at, and, you know, we're going to run this out together as long as it goes. And, you know, he any day, anything we need, no warning, tell him he can wing it and get it done. And, you know, my other assistant, my JV coach, Claire Albers, which was Claire Ruenkamp that played for me and Randy, you know, it's fun to have her back on staff because she was there, played under him, and it's kind of like getting the family back together and having some fun.
That's good stuff, Coach, and something that probably a lot of viewers out there might not know. Another thing that our viewers might not know, that in addition to being a volleyball coach or you know, as successful as you are, people might think that you sleep, eat, and breathe volleyball 24/7. But I've been told that you also have an interest in another sport. And correct me if I'm wrong, but folks tell me that you also like, I think, dirt track sprint car racing. Can you?
Oh, I'm just a fan. You know, I'm just a fan. That's about it.
I wanted to know what that was all about, and is that a big interest of yours?
I have, you know, I've got a bunch of questions over the year from a lot of people. That's the first time anybody's ever asked me about that, you know, outside of volleyball. But kind of by default, I grew up around it. I grew up in Orrville, Ohio, which, if there's any sprint car fans out there, there might be a few, you never know, near Wayne County Speedway. I live near the Jacobs family and the Haudenschild family, which are two names that are absolutely legendary in sprint car racing. And, you know, my parents took me when I was young, and it's just something I really enjoy. A lot of my childhood friends that I still, you know, we now take our kids together to the races. It's just a relaxing atmosphere. We can get away from the hustle and bustle of everything, and me and my son go out there, and we just go out for an evening, and we don't miss too many races at Eldora Speedway, weather permitting, and, you know, we'll actually be out there this Friday night. The last race of the season's out there, so we're pretty excited about that.
Well, listen, Coach, that's great stuff. We appreciate you being on our show with us. And, you know, you're blessed. The Redskins are blessed with a lot of athletic talent over there. Yeah, you got great coaches, yourself included, and your coaching staff. So best of luck this year in the postseason, and, you know, go Redskins.
All right. Hey, thank you for your time tonight, guys. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Coach.
Yep.
And, you know, the last time we had Coach Rodgers on this show was back in 2014, and you know what happened after he was on this show?
State championship.
They won the state championship, and they've got seems like that kind of team this year.
They're good. They're good. They got good chemistry team there, Craig, and but they're going to have a lot of stiff challenges ahead of them. So I'm sure Coach Rodgers will make them well aware of that.
No doubt about that. Well, let's head back to the sound room and check in with TK and Heavy D. And guys, we got the whole crew back together again this week, don't we?
Got the band back together.
All right, TK. Well, we're always excited about your SCAL Athlete of the Week. Who are you picking for us this week?
All right, this one's going to stay kind of close to home. Tuesday night, Kobe and I got to do the game here in Russia Anna volleyball. A lot going on there. We had Sherman and Scott leading the team with kills. We had Daniel and York, great serving, 4 aces apiece. A lot to go around. A lot happened on that team, but I'm going to have to give the nod to the freshman Maya Monin, the setter for the Raiders. For those that aren't volleyball fans or haven't been to a game, the setter is like the quarterbacks, or it's like the guard on the basketball team. So you got a freshman out there running the show, basically, and doing a great job of it. Obviously a lot to learn as a freshman, but she's fit right in and does a really, really good job. Spreads the ball around. CeCe Borchers was in there with a lot of hits. York was in there with a lot of kills. So she got the ball moving, got the whole team involved, and was just a really good game overall. 3-0 sweep of Anna, and a big, big game for that team. So got to give it to the quote-unquote quarterback, freshman setter, Maya Monin.
TK, I think that's a great call. I was at that game and very impressed with Coach Watkins and his volleyball team. A lot of youth on that team, and boy, they played well. I was really, really impressed. Good volleyball is fun to watch. That game was fun to watch.
Yeah, I agree. Good call with that, TK. And Heavy D, what do you got in the mailbag this week?
Yeah, so some water cooler talk today at work, and the question came up about Marty Brenneman, Hall of Fame. Today he's making his last call. I'm DVRing the game. I'm looking forward to listening to it tonight when I get home. But Hall of Famer, 46 years announcing for the Cincinnati Reds, started in 1974. I can remember I was 13 years old. I got a boom box for Christmas, and the kind with the cassette tapes there, TK. And I can remember for some reason I was just taping the Reds on the big one, 700 WLW, and taped an Eric Davis home run. Marty had the call. I can remember it like it was yesterday. And I replayed that call on my boombox, and my sister said, "That's enough." And I said, "No, it's not. 10 more times the call for Marty." And and this one belongs to the Reds. So 46 years with the same team. That's something special. And we're going to miss the guy.
Gosh, yeah,
that's
what I was going to say exactly. Going to miss him. We're going to miss that iconic voice. That's for sure.
Do you think maybe one of us four could be in line to take his job?
Maybe Covey.
Or Covey. Yeah, there you
Don't
go.
forget
I agree.
Covey.
Covey would be the man.
We can't lose him here at Fisherport.
True. Well, we pay a lot more than what Reds do anyways, so he ain't going anywhere.
All right, guys, great stuff, and thanks for that. That's going to wrap things up for us here tonight, Ken. Do want to say special thanks to our guest, John Rodgers, for joining us on the show. Thanks to the viewers out there for tuning in as always. Ken and I and the crew, we're all going to be back again next week, same time, same place, all together. Until then, have a great rest of the week, everyone.
Hanging at the fishing pond, hanging at the fishing pond, hanging at the fishing pond, hanging at the fishing pond. For your latest news and high school sports, tune in to the fishing pond. Don't need no bed, don't need no pole. When you tune in to the fishing pond, hanging at the fishing pond.